Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the Malacanang Press Corps. Welcome to our Mindanao Hour and the Palace Press Briefing of Presidential Spokesperson Ernesto Abella. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Before we go to the reports of Brigadier General Padilla and Spokesperson Toby, we just like to make a summary report. As of today, 14th of August, day 84 of the rebellion in Marawi, as of 7 p.m. last night, enemies killed 562 plus, it's an increase of 2. Civilians killed, no change. Firearms recovered, 619, including 1. Civilians rescued, no change. Buildings cleared, 38. Yesterday, 10 were cleared. IEDs recovered, 11. Killed in action, 128. Up to this time, there have been no changes regarding the deposits made for the Marawi AFP casualties, so it remains as 98,866,334.23 centavos. And for the Marawi IDPs, we have 934, 195.21. End of that part. So, Mr. General Padilla.
Thank you very much, sir. Just like to provide you an update on Marawi initially. We have a lot of significant developments in Marawi that have been happening lately, and very positive at that. Right now, ongoing is a seminar in Iligan that pulls together all local executives and religious leaders, as well as all stakeholders who have something to do with the rise of Marawi and its rebuilding. We are looking forward to the formalization of the commitment of 41 local executives in denouncing and providing a resolution, a joint resolution against the extremism, radicalism, violent extremism and radicalism, which is actually targeted at potential efforts of the current rebel groups inside Marawi from building back again or rising again. Coupled with that is the fatwa that will be issued by the religious leaders of Marawi and the entire Sultanate. We are looking forward to seeing those within the week, and we see this as a very positive step towards inoculating Marawi and building it back better and against violent extremism and radicalism. If we see this happening within the week, we can guarantee you that it will be part and parcel of the holistic approach we are looking at Marawi to rebuild it back much better than before. In other incidents, elsewhere in Mindanao, with the imposition of martial law, I am also happy to relate to you that according to General Galvez, all workers who were kidnapped earlier and 3 were rescued, all 4 have been rescued already. So the threat of any beheading is no longer existent in as far as these 4 workers are concerned against the group of ASG. With also the neutralization of Badong Actadil the other day. So we are continuing to address all threats coming from the ASG in all operations in other parts of Mindanao other than those in Marawi. So hand in hand with all the members of the citizenry in all these areas who have been very helpful by providing us information regarding the whereabouts of all these terrorists, we see this getting stronger by the day, and if more citizens will commit themselves to help, we can guarantee that in no time at all, we will be able to bring a more sustainable peace in the entirety of Mindanao, particularly in areas that are frequented by these terrorists. So with that, I will now turn over the floor to Secretary Abella for the other follow-on updates.
Good morning. at the Malacañang Press Corps. Here are the updates on the reconstruction, rehabilitation, and recovery efforts for Marawi City and other affected areas from your task force, Bangon Marawi. On August 12, the National Response Cluster, led by the Department of Social Welfare and Development, officially turned over its responsibilities and authority to the task force through Task Force Executive Director Undersecretary Cesar Llano, and a symbolic turnover attended by representatives from the response cluster agencies, Undersecretary Hope Hervilla and Director Felino Castro of DSWD, handed pertinent documents to Undersecretary Llano, symbolizing the transition from response to early recovery of Marawi City and other affected localities. Undersecretary Llano presented on the task force, including subcommittee updates, while representatives of various sectors involved shared their reports and updates in the efforts to provide humanitarian assistance to the affected people of Marawi City and other localities. In the said transition, the task force shall realign the clusters to the different subcommittees of the task force under AO3. Undersecretary Llano ensured that various sectors will continue to work together towards rebuilding Marawi City and other affected areas. On another topic, on mental health and psychosocial support, various levels of interventions are being provided for the IDPs as well as responders on the ground. As of the latest report from the Department of Health, more than 149,000 evacuees and responders in Regions 10 and ARMM have availed of MHPSS services offered in 4 levels. Out of the 226 referrals, there are 6 who were admitted at Mercy Community Hospital in Iligan City. 4 of those 6 were diagnosed with chronic psychosis, 1 with acute traumatic stress disorder, and 1 with depression. DOH continuously provides free healthcare services for the IDPs in various hospitals in Marawi City and nearby areas. Now I would like to expound on this further. Level 1, if you see there in the presentation, level 1 refers to the basic needs of our IDPs and responders, such as basic health services, safety, and shelter. Level 2 includes psychological first aid, family tracking, and support for individuals with special needs. Level 3 interventions cover play therapy, expressive art therapy, psychosocial processing, and activities for stress management, such as singing, magic shows, Zumba, and other relaxation activities. And finally, Level 4 defines the provision of mental health medications, referral to psychiatrists, and clinical counseling. On another topic, on the provision of business and livelihood for the IDPs, the Department of Trade and Industry continuously provides goods as well as gasoline to be used by traders in Marawi City. Since most of Maranaos are traders, the Subcommittee on Business and Livelihood is exploring the possibility of constructing a public market inside the transitional shelter site to cater for the needs of both the traders and IDPs. All of these will be discussed in the subcommittee meeting that will be held tomorrow. Meanwhile, the Office of Civil Defense, in coordination with the LGUs, continues to provide assistance in various municipalities in Lanao provinces. A mobile water treatment and purification system was delivered and installed at Baloy. This equipment can provide around 75 cubic meters per hour of potable water to our IDPs. On Friday, television sets were installed by OCD through its regional office in ARMM in 4 evacuation centers. The Department of Information and Communications Technology assisted in the installation of TV sets. Aside from regular TV shows, educational videos on disaster awareness and preparedness called Project DINA videos shall be played in the evacuation centers. The next slide shows the latest figures on the situation in Marawi City. As of the latest NDRM Operations Center report, a total of 104,832 families, or 467,377 persons, are displaced in Regions 7, 10, 11, 12, NAR, ARMM, and Caraga. More than 210 million worth of food and non-food items were provided by the DSWD to its response clusters and field offices responding to the conflict. For the cost of assistance, more than 286 million pesos worth of assistance has been provided for the affected families by DSWD, OCD, DOH, LGU, and international and non-government organization. That's all I have for you. Thank you.
Before we go to the Q&A, we'd like to make a few statements. On Representative Gloria Arroyo's House Bill 6121 on BBL, the Presidential Legislative Liaison Office will officially transmit the draft Bangsamoro Basic Law to Congress this week. We leave it to Congress to act on the matter with dispatch, including consolidating the Palace version with House Bill 6121 filed by Representative Gloria Arroyo. Also, the Libreng Gamot program has been implemented in 5 Metro Manila hospitals. 5 additional public hospitals in Metro Manila has started providing free medicine to indigent patients, and that was starting August 1. The DSWD has signed a memorandum of agreement with 5 additional public hospitals, which include Jose Reyes Memorial Hospital, East Avenue Medical Center, Lung Cancer Center of the Philippines, Philippine Children's Hospital, and San Lazaro Hospital for the Libreng Gamot para sa Masa program, or LINGAP, on July 13. A total of 96,659,339.76 has already been given to 13,142 indigent patients by the initial 6 partner hospitals located in regions 3, 6, 7, 11, and NCR. Also, on the use of hostages as suicide bombers, we have been receiving accounts from hostages who were able to escape from the Maute rebels in Marawi that the enemy would be using hostages as suicide bombers once they were cornered by government troops. We strongly denounce these desperate actions, which apparently are carefully calculated to create violent reaction from the general populace in order to create tension between ethnic groups, which the terrorist groups expect to work in favor of their cause. We, however, assure our people that the government forces will continue to abide by the rules of engagement to ensure the safety of hostages, particularly women and children, in our drive to clear Marawi of all armed elements. No less than the Commander-in-Chief has given this primordial consideration and guidance to our troops. Regarding the DA banning of fowl shipments from Luzon, our first concern is for the safety of our consumers and citizens. So far, there is no indication that this strain of avian flu is harmful to humans, but we will continue to validate this and take all precaution needed. Our long-term concern is to sustain and support our local poultry industry as it weathers this first-time crisis. We will work closely with them to eliminate this problem soonest and to restore our country's chicken exports to their premium position in international markets. Regarding the Korea-Guam crisis, we commend our Seoul Embassy and our Guam Consulate for their contingency plans to secure Filipinos if and when military conflict erupt. We ask all Filipinos in Guam and Korea and their families here to inform DFA or our consular officials of their whereabouts. Also, at the same time, we continue to enjoin all concerned parties to desist from threats and military action, and we enjoin all sides to start talks, which will be greatly facilitated by an end to missile tests and attack threats. Regarding the BSP chief statements to calm the market, We stand foursquare behind and beside BSP Governor Espinilla in his continued prudent management of our currency and the country's international payments position. Short-term volatility in the value of the peso are at this point simply market reactions to overseas developments, to which currency traders and other players all over Asia are responding to day by day. We expect that as international tensions ease and remittances, trade and tourism revenues pick up in latter months, those holding pesos will see their funds again. Over the long term, we share the governor's confidence that the peso gets stronger amid our solid fundamentals, massive currency reserves, and increasing attractiveness to foreign investments as our infrastructure upgrades and expands. Lastly, DPWH and DOTR extend truckers' anti-overloading grace period. DPWH and DOTR are giving our truck and trailer operators more time to comply with the weight ceiling set by law in the interest of road safety. We warn our truckers not to fall into the usual complacency of waiting till the last minute to comply with rules and then pleading for more time. Statement to them, please get your vehicles up to standard now. End of statement. Q&A.
Okay, the floor is now open for questions. Maricel Harili, TV5.
Hi, sir. Good morning. General Padilla. Sir, there are reports that reinforcements for the Maute group are coming in Marawi. Is this true?
Yes, we did get that. We did get those information, and the information actually made mention that at the height of a very heavy rain, there were elements that made their way inside. Unfortunately, we have not confirmed that, and we are still checking as of the moment. So, but be that as it may, the forces that have been laid out in the lake area are adequate to cover any kind of movement. Now, we anticipate those kinds of initiatives from the enemy. One, of people wanting to escape and get out at the heat of the fighting, and second, for the possibility of reinforcements also making their way through that same corridor. But as I mentioned, we have laid down plans and forces to cover all of these avenues of approach, and we're confident that what we have is more than enough. But we still do rely on many of our civilian kababayans in the areas of the lake to continue to provide information. And that is why we are happy to note, as I mentioned a while ago, the signing of the manifesto of 41 Lanao del Sur mayors or local executives, because this will reinforce our efforts to keep safe Marawi in the future, as well as heighten our efforts to safeguard these avenues of approach that we have been mentioning, such as the lake. If our local executives are committed to assist the military and help us, the effort of guarding these areas becomes better.
Any updates, sir, about the hostages in Marawi, like the case of Father Suganov? Kasi may mga reports na pinagtatrabaho.
Marami po tayong nakuhang bagong updates dun sa mga huling nakatakas. At batid ko na may ilan sa mga kasamahan nyo sa media ay nagkaroon din ng pagkakataon na ma-interview sila kamakailan bago sila nagsibalikan sa kanilang mga pamilya at mahal sa buhay. At itong mga in-reveal nila ay nagpapahiwatig na buhay pa nga itong si Father Chito. So, mainam na nalaman natin ito sa salaysay nila dahil isa ito sa mga proof na nagpapatibay na itong mga hostages na ating sinisikap ma-rescue ay nariyan pa rin. So, kasama na dyan si Father Chito. Ganun din yung kanilang revelation na ang mga hostages ay ginagamit sa pag-iipon ng bala, paglalagay ng pulbura, pagpe-prepare sa gera at ano pa mang bagay na ginugusto ng mga terorista dyan. So, hindi po nalalayo na magawa yan dahil talaga pong under duress naman talaga sila at gagawin ng kalaban lahat ng maaari nilang gawin sa mga hostages para makatulong ito sa kanilang effort. The only thing that we're really seeking to do is to be able to rescue them safe and sound, alive, at the conclusion of this fighting, and we're doing that.
Follow-up, Hannah Jane Sancho, Sunshine Radio.
Good morning, General Padilla. Sir, last Friday may nahuli po sa Indonesia na allegedly recruiter, fundraiser ng pro-ISIS para magpadala po daw ng reinforcement sa Marawi. Ano po yung ginagawa ng government, lalo-lalo na kung yung reinforcement po galing po sa ibang bansa?
Sa atin, we found out and we heard about this news also. Magandang balita ito kasi nagiging matibay din yung effort ng ibang bansa laban po sa mga grupo na nagpapadala o tumutulong dito sa mga nasa Marawi ng mga rebelde. So, the picture or the narrative regarding the entry and the existence of foreign fighters inside Marawi is reinforced by this recent news. So, it will hopefully help in the documentation of the people that we had in the watch list. Kasi may watch list po tayo eh. May mga binabantayan tayong mga tao, kasama na dyan karamihan mga Indonesian. At kung malilink natin ito dun sa mga ginagawang recruitment, ng recruiter na yan, mabubuo natin yung kabuuan ng kwento kung paano sila nakarating at kung paano nila nasusustain yung kanilang presensya. So we see this as a positive development. And our ASEAN partners are also helping provide information in whatever capacity that they get. So this is one of those.
Pero sir, so far sir, wala po napaulat na galing sa Indonesia or other countries po na pumapasok sa bansa as reinforcement po sa ISIS.
So far ngayon, wala tayong ganyang balita. Ang alam lang natin is yung naiwan, yung nagsimula na nandun, na marami sa kanila ay namatay na. Exact numbers we cannot yet determine, although we believe that there are still some who have survived. So they're still there continuing to fight. So as soon as this conflict ends and we have the opportunity to collect all the possible information, sources of information in the area na available na mga na-recover nating bagay, we will be able to piece that puzzle completely and hopefully provide the entirety of the information regarding the presence and the existence of foreign fighters.
Sir, may information na pa tayo, sir, na kung ilan na lang po yung natitirang buhay sa mga foreign fighters na kasama na
yun
ISIS?
nga, tulad ng sabi ko kanina, hindi natin masabi kung ilan pa yung natitira. Sabi ng iba, may 2 na lang. Sabi ng ilan, may 8 pa, may 10. So it's not an exact number until such time that we find clear and sufficient proof to say with confidence how many there are. Thank you.
Marawi issue, Ja Rosales. This is Mirror.
Good morning, General.
Yes.
I would like to ask if the military is still concentrated. Our military operations are still concentrated on the 2 barangays you said 2 weeks ago?
Yeah. Yes, we are. Those 2 barangays remain to be in the area that we have been mentioning all along. Name of those barangays I cannot disclose. Yan yung 2 barangay na nasa 1 square kilometer na grid na sinasabi natin. In fact, ngayon, less than 1 square kilometer na actually. And we continue to advance in our approaches to all these barangays. That's why we have included the number of buildings cleared. Kasi as we get into the battle area, we get into the commercial business district. There are days that we are able to clear only a few facilities or installations or buildings because these are big buildings. Matataas, malalaki at madaming kailangan i-clear. So habang pumapasok tayo sa loob ng commercial business district, ina-anticipate natin na ito yung magiging rason kaya bumabagal. Bukod doon, nandyan pa rin yung mga kalaban, nakatago. So again, the complexity of the battle environment is when you go into a building, and the building is such a huge area, you have to go from room to room, from floor to floor, and you have to ensure that all of these are safe. So it's not that easy to move. Your enemy might just be behind the door, they might just be in the other corner or in another room. So we have to be prepared for all these kinds of surprises.
So, is there, I believe 2 weeks ago, 60 men na lang yung maute,
Yeah.
according to military source. Ngayon po, sir, nabawasan po ba o hindi?
Yes, dun sa nire-report natin yung mga namamatay sa hanay ng kalaban, ngayon sa paniniwala ng ating mga tropa dyan, sa ground commander's estimate, less than 40 na lang sila. So, between 20 to 40 na lang siguro yan. So, the force is getting smaller and their capacity to inflict harm, by the way, is still there because they still have arms, they still have adequate ammunition, and they still continue to hold hostages. So that's the compounding factor.
Last 2 questions, sir. Yung una is, I believe, merong 96 or 97 barangays ang Marawi City,
May
sir?
kabuuan ng Marawi is 96 barangays.
96
That is
barangays, sir.
right. Yeah.
2 barangays na lang natitira, and this is more or less 3 or 2% of the whole Marawi.
Yeah.
When are we gonna recommend the lifting of martial law, given na maliit na yung percentage na kailangan, especially whole of Mindanao yung
Actually, don't look at Marawi per se as the reason for keeping martial law. You know, this rebel group has a structure that is beyond Marawi. They have groups in other portions of Lanao, in Maguindanao, in Sulu Archipelago, etc. So it does not mean to say that just because we have been able to address the security issue in Marawi, there is going to be a preemptive lifting of martial law. No, we still have a lot of homework to do. We still have a lot of areas to address, and that is why we still need it.
And what are the, last question, sir, what are the parang indicators na kailangan na natin, na pwede nang i-lift, sir, given na pa 3 months na yung martial law sa Mindanao?
Once all the security issues have been addressed, the proliferation of firearms borne by possessed by these armed groups, their existence of all these other elements that are still out there, pwede pa kasi mag-consolidate yan, pwede pa uli magsanib puwersa yung mga natitirang mga puwersa nila. So hanggat hindi natin na a-address ito, may pangangailangan na ipagpatuloy natin itong ginagawa nating security operations. At upang mapawi yung pangangamba ng ating mga kababayan, wala naman po dapat kayong ikatakot kung kayo ay law-abiding. Kasi hindi naman sa inyo nakatuon ang pagpapatupad ng martial law. Ito ay nakatuon sa mga masasamang loob.
Sir, wala namang change of target ng martial law kasi it was targeted toward the Islamist extremists. Wala namang change of target ngayon.
Actually, martial law is addressed not only at the rebellion occurring in Marawi, but the overall security situation in Mindanao. Because it's a big domino effect. If one is having a violent activity, it may spill over to other parts if we don't control it. So we need to address all the security issues in all other areas as well.
Thank you, General.
You're welcome.
Okay, any more questions? Marawi situation.
By the way, before the next question, I'd just like to add, in relation to some of the questions earlier asked, there is a proliferation of disinformation going on from among terrorist groups and even some sympathetic elements around the Central Mindanao area in Marawi. We have observed that disinformation are actually targeted at discrediting soldiers, news about or misinformation about looting, even murder in some instances, and killings, which are unfounded. Hindi po totoo yung mga kumakalat na yon. Isa pang nakakabahala dyan, yung kumalat kamakailan na nagdala ng pangangamba, apprehension sa lahat ng ating mga residente sa Marawi na sinasabi kaya daw po naglunsad ng ganitong kaguluhan dahil binabawi daw ng militar yung kabuuan ng Marawi dahil ito po ay isa daw napakalaking military reservation. Although it's true that these are military reservations, but sinasabi natin sa ating mga kababayan na hindi dapat sila mangamba. Dahil sa tagal na po ng panahon na nadeklara itong military reservation, may araw po ba na may kumatok sa bahay nyo nung maayos pa at peaceful pa dyan sa lugar nyo, na binabawi yung lugar nyo, ang lupa nyo? Wala. So, ibig sabihin po, nire-respeto po yung inyong pagiging traditional dwellers na dyan. At siguro, sa pagkakataong ito, magkakaroon tayo ng tsansa na ayusin lahat ito sa hinaharap. Kaya nga ang bigkas ng ating mahal na Pangulo is that Marawi will rise and that we will try to rebuild it better for a stronger and more resilient Marawi. Kaya sa ating mga kababayan dyan na nakasubaybay po ngayon at doon sa mga hindi po nakasubaybay, yung mga pwede pong magpaabot nitong balitang ito, pinapawi po namin yung mga pangangamba nyo. Wala pong katotohanan na nagsimula itong gulong to dahil nais namin kunin yung mga lupa nyo dahil ito'y military reservation. Mali po yan. So sa tagal po ng panahon nyo dyan, tandaan nyo, wala ni minsan na lumabas itong issue to. Ngayon lang dahil may mga naninira. Huwag po kayo maniwala sa mga ito. Bukod din po dito, makinig po tayo sa mga local leaders nyo ngayon na nagpapaliwanag at nagbibigay ilaw sa lahat ng mga hindi po naiintindihan ng karamihan. So once our religious leaders in the area, following the signing of the manifesto of all these our local executives, everything I hope or we hope will become clearer for everyone, including the ordinary citizens of Marawi and our Maranao brothers and sisters who are being stirred up and agitated because of all this false news. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Marawi situation. Okay, Kristoffer.
Sir, follow-up lang. May idea po ba kayo kung sino po yung nasa likod ng paninira sa inyo po? At pilalabas yung mga ganitong issue?
Meron, pero hindi pa po ako, I'm not at liberty to disclose who they are, but they are being closely followed and monitored.
Thank you po.
Okay. Marawi situation, rehabilitation, any more questions? Okay, we can proceed to, yes? Okay. Microphone, please. Thank you.
Good morning, sir. Kay General Padilla po, follow-up lang po dun sa about the possibility of spilling over of the violence. Would you say that there's an existing rebellion in other parts of Mindanao? And if so, what are the manifestations of these rebellion?
Well, there are various violent activities that have happened recently that may indicate an attempt to distract current operations in Marawi. Case in point are ASG activities to abduct ordinary citizens. Yung mga karpintero, yung mga walang kamuang-muang na mga ordinaryong mamamayan na pinipilit nilang kidnapin. These are part and parcel of those violent activities that may comprise an attempt to distract current operations in Marawi. Other than that, you have been following developments also in Maguindanao from the group of the BIFF who may be sympathetic to this group. So by all these activities, we are not putting this aside, and we're seeing this as part of the whole picture of potential intent to distract our attention, to redeploy our forces, which we are not biting into, and cause the shifting of forces to other areas, which is not going to happen at all.
Sir, are these situations classified as rebellion or potential?
Anything in aid of rebellion is part of rebellion.
Okay. Questions on other issues? Pia Renada of Rappler.
Good morning. This is for Spokesperson. Sir, over the weekend, Secretary Martin Andanor issued a statement saying that he would punish the PNE editors if found to have been guilty of any errors, that he would send them to Basilan or Holo. This kind of messaging has caused concern when it was raised before by the President and by PNP Chief Bato. Some prominent voices are saying that this could be taken as an insult to Mindanaoans because they don't deserve subpar service from government personnel. How would the palace explain this kind of messaging to the public, especially to Mindanaoans?
Truth to tell, that should be referred to Secretary Andanar, especially since it's pertinent to him. the comments come from him, and the best person to explain that would be he himself. On the other hand, we also would like to say that the palace holds Mindanao and the whole of Mindanao in great and deep respect. If there are any references regarding the difficulties it implies of being assigned there, then that needs to be explained by the person who actually made this statement. Thank you.
Sir, but this comment of Secretary Andonars is sort of echoing already a messaging that the President himself has issued. So will Malacañang address that concern that it's actually just echo of the President's speech?
I think the term echoing implies that this is something that the President has, that it implies a particular message thread. Like I said, in fact, the President is fully engaged in making sure that Mindanao is restored and rises up. In other words, the President has deep and great respect for Mindanao and its citizens. And so if at all there seems to be any implication about hardship, then it's not about Mindanao or Mindanaoans. It is simply about certain difficulties in the region at this stage.
Okay, next question. Joseph Morang, GMA 7.
Okay, Secretary Abella. Morning, sir.
Yes.
Regarding the prediction of Attorney Panelo, that
The
prediction, it says, of that COMELEC Chairman Bautista daw po will resign. Does the palace share this assessment?
We're not in the habit of prophecies. But I think it should be referred back to Attorney Panelo. He'll be able to provide you the context. At this stage, we don't have any comments regarding that matter.
Yes, sir. So as a PNA, do you think there's some housekeeping that has to be done?
Regarding
The PNA, sir.
PNA, as in any organization, housekeeping is always in order, a constant and continual thing.
And in this particular instance, do you think the PNA deserves that now?
I think that matter is best answered by Secretary Andonars.
Okay, follow up on that? Okay, yes, please.
Morning, Sir. Ernesto from Manila Times. Sir, about Joseph's question on COMELEC Commissioner Bautista,
Yes.
follow-up lang po.
Yes, ma'am.
Is the President supportive of the moves to impeach COMELEC Chairman Bautista? Considering the President is strong condemnation of corruption and Chairman Bautista is being alleged of keeping 1 billion worth of ill-gotten wealth. So is he supportive of moves to impeach the COMELEC chairman at this point?
Without making references to any particular individual, the President, of course, is highly supportive of all moves that will set the House, the Philippine government in order. And he's been very clear about that. That is one of his campaign promises. And so each and every act, each and every move that entails bringing about a correction especially in our institutions, is welcomed, and I'm sure he is supportive of. That is not in reference to any particular individual.
Next question. Yes, Philip Tubeza of Inquirer.
Good morning, sir.
Yes.
Doon lang po sa avian flu, Governor Lilia Pineda is asking the national government, particularly the DA, to lift the quarantine. Kasi pati daw po yung mga duck racers apektado na. They've lost, I think, around 14 million po.
I would suggest that it be referred to the proper agency, to Secretary Piñol. He would be the best person in charge of this. Thank you.
Okay, sir. And another one, sir, doon po sa North Korea, did we also issue the same guidance to our embassy sa Tokyo, considering that if hostilities break out in the peninsula, maging apektado rin po ang Japan?
Well, there is no reference that they've been informed. I'm sure they are in the loop and are also on the lookout regarding the matter, considering that there are a number of Filipinos, a large number of Filipinos in Japan.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Okay, any more questions? Okay, Joseph?
Sir, just on the BBL, how will the separate proposal from Congressman Arroyo help in the crafting of the BBL?
I'm sure she has certain positions regarding the matter, and it will be up to the Congress to consolidate that which is pertinent to the BBL.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next question, please. No more questions?
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, General Padilla.
I have a question for you. Since you didn't want to raise your hand. No, I just like to convey that there are things positive that have also occurred here in Luzon in support of our Marawi efforts. And very much a part of that is the support we get from the civilian side of the House. And just this weekend, in a breakfast ride to Baguio City of many bikers, among them members of the BMW, the Harley Davidson Club, mga riders, mga nagmamotor, I'm happy to report to you that it could turn out to be very successful. More than 1,000 riders went to PMA from Manila, riding together and proceeding to PMA, and they were honored by our cadets with a silent drill exhibition as a gesture of our gratitude for their effort. Now, they have raised this and done this earlier in small groups, and we really appreciate the show of support from among all these riders. If we can, as one nation, unite like what the riders did last weekend, then there's no problem that we can never overcome. We will rise up stronger, we'll rise up better, and we'll get over all these problems easier.
All right.
It was
Thank
safely
you, sir.
done, safely done. No injuries, by the way, no accidents.
Thank you, sir. Okay, I think that concludes our Mindanao Hour and Palace Press Briefing. Thank you very much, Presidential Spokesperson Ernesto Abella, and our guests today, AFP Spokesperson General Restituto Padilla and Civil Defense Assistant Secretary Kristoffer Purisima. Back to the main studio of PTV4.